I suppose where I think we might start is just to move straight from the previous observation, which is about the importance of building community to successful business, and how important you see that being and what it means for your businesses. Now, I know not everyone's going to have a perspective on that particular issue, but I'm particularly interested to hear from Matt and from Jamie, but also from Diane in that space, and there may be other perspectives that Penny, remember the names, that Penny is able to offer as well. So maybe if I ask why don't I ask Matt to start, and then people can just sort of give me a little wink that you've got something to say, and I'll pass the mic to you. All right? Away we go.
Thanks, John. Hi, everybody. Matt McLaughlin. I think a really good point, really topical about community. I've had hospitality businesses in the CBD for many years. Only just recently, in the last sort of year, I've branched out into the suburbs and into Miramar. So I'm still learning and I'm still finding my feet and seeing what it's all about. But it has been really interesting. Your hospitality venue has traditionally always been your community hub, and I'm certainly seeing that in Miramar. And I know that Jamie, I bought the business off Jamie, and it's been established and been a cracker business for a long time. And I know that it was always built on being the community hub where people come and they can gather and they can feel comfortable and content and having something to eat and something to drink, and it's a place where they can gather and meet. But not only that, I think with your hospitality venues, we're there to help sort of engage with the community, run community events, run fundraisers. We're in a prominent position to be able to help out. We've got the venue for that kind of thing. So I think, for me, still learning the ropes and learning what Miramar's all about. But I've got a really strong community feel. I get a really strong community feel out in the suburbs, and it's something that I think we need to grab hold of and keep rolling with.
Cool, thank you. Jamie, I'll ask you to comment, and then I don't know if you might want to.
Diane's always got lots to say, John. No, kia ora tātou. I guess community bars in our whakapapa for our company. It's been where we started and kind of surrounded the city, and then we started coming into the city. So we on our first venue, realised that you have the same pool of people coming back predominantly when you have a suburban venue. So they all wear different personas. They'll come in for work, they'll come in as a family person, they'll come in with their friends, they hang out. So you've got to sort of have this multiple offer, but you also have to give back. So if you don't give back, you're always taking from someone, right? So you've got to have that connection with the community and understand what they're interested in, who are the schools, what do they do, how can you support them at their gala days, the different sports clubs, the local businesses, and what are they all wanting. So that's probably the philosophy we've always had out in the suburbs, is try and find something that's a bit of a win-win.
So given that you've got to create these connections, how do you actually do that? You were talking about a whole lot of new people that are going to be coming into the suburbs, new customers, those things. So what are the key sort of drivers of actually making those connections and building those relationships?
It sounds stupid, but you can just talk to them and ask them. And it's that simple. It isn't anymore. Just ask. I think 15 years ago when we did Kandala, we found this thing called the internet and did an online survey. Yeah. And then we had a couple of sessions down at the pub where people could tell us all the things we've been doing wrong. And the reason we sold Miramar is that we weren't doing a very good job there. Matt had all this energy and wanted it, and we thought, well, that's going to be the best outcome. So you've got to admit where you're not doing a good job too. So,
thank you. I'll get Diane to just make a few comments on this one, and then I want to leap into another question.
Yes, well, I was one of Jamie's first customers in Kandala, so I'm always giving him feedback. He gratefully accepts it, but he never listens to me. He's a bit like counsel. On that note, can I just say that I just really encourage everyone to have a say whenever we are out in your area and working in your area. I know from a business perspective, you're very busy and you say, well, I'll just leave it up to them to make a decision. But we really do need you to have a say. And I think from working with some of the different business groups, associations around the suburban centres, I think it's really important to connect with your either residents association or sort of stronger community groups. You'll know if you're in your area, you'll know who those ones who are active and certainly work with them, because they're the ones who can help drive business into those local suburban areas as well. And they also are great for understanding what are the opportunities, what is missing from communities. Now, I've got 2 daughters who recently bought in Johnsonville, and they're the new generation coming through. Their needs for Johnsonville now are probably slightly different to what it may have been 10 years ago or even more. And so there's lots of opportunities there. So all I can say is you need to talk with different community groups. They'll give you, and as Jamie said, listen to what your customers are saying, but certainly work with your community groups, because there's a wealth of information out there, a wealth of knowledge, and people are very great. Oh, they're really good in sharing. I think that's what makes Wellington such a strong city.
Thank you. I'll go now to just talk a wee bit about bids and where bids are going and strategies. And I thought I might start with Darcy, because obviously Tawa, there's heaps of development out there. There's new roading going in. There's lots of change that Liam and others have been talking about. So as a bid, how do you respond? What sort of strategic responses are you looking to make, and how do you bring people together to make them?
Yeah, thanks, John. Hello, everybody. It's a tough proposition, and I think the first proposition is part of that story is to actually understand who you are. So, as a Tawa executive team, we looked at who we were and what we were, and where our position was with our bid in Wellington City Council, and then where we fell into the mixture of those themes that Liam spoke about. So, national policy statements and the regional perspective of Tawa's on the main road towards Levin and beyond. You sort of hope that Levin's not the only destination, but so you have to understand where you sit in there and then what you can actually achieve. And when you think about what a bid is, it's a partnership with the Wellington City Council, and it's a partnership with the business community, which are your membership within your area. And then again, if you look back at our specific bid, we've got a vast variety of services and skills within the Tawa bid, from professional services to goods and services produced and promoted outside of the region and for the region in Tawa, and in hospitality and retail. So it's understanding that mix and then looking forward to saying what is that opportunity. And for Tawa, we're really a centre of that left-hand corridor up the North Island. There's a lot of activity at Kinapuru Landing. There's the Rangatuhi gondola and mountain bike park development. There's Lincolnshire Farm, Woodridge, and then the Northern Churton Park and Upper Stebbings in Wellington City. So there's thousands of people that are going to be commuting through and via Tawa for various reasons in their day. And then the change in COVID and working from home and all that stuff comes into the mix as well. So what we've decided is we've set some key goals in our business plan and key strategies for various individuals to connect with, and as my friend beside me said, talk to people in Wellington City Council in those various opportunities to then enable some good stakeholder engagement with our members so we can be a part of the process. And then ultimately, if we're part of that process and that journey and that vision, we'll adapt to what Tawa will look like in the future. And there's more to that story, obviously, but that's a bit of a nutshell of it.
That's great, thank you. Given that experience of engaging with council, are there any either hints that you'd give to others out here about how to do that effectively, or advice that you'd be providing to the people like myself and others that are in that sort of council community about what we might do differently to make it easier?
Yep, absolutely. I guess first and foremost, where's Rula? She's a gateway. Thank you, Rula, for your gateway to Wellington City Council. So we come up with some crazy ideas and want to know some crazy information, and we share those with Rula. And she's brought many different council officers into our meetings to share in that kororo about whatever we're talking about at the time, and then we can really cut forward to what we want to do. So it's been fantastic engagement from the officers in that partnership brought forward by Rula into our bid. So yeah, our advice is engage with Rula, no idea is a silly idea, and go for it.
There we are, it's as simple as that. That's fantastic. I want to bring Bill into the conversation. Crave Kitchen, as many of you know, has acted as an incubator for heaps of food companies and things of that kind, innovative culinary companies over the years. So, Bill, I mean, we've just heard that food's so important. You know, you're not allowed to be more than 20 seconds away or 20 minutes away. I'm not sure what it was. But nonetheless, you've got to be close at all times to innovative food to build community. So I suppose the question is, what's the foundation for success for businesses to moving into your businesses of that type, moving into communities, and how do we best attract them to doing that, given their importance?
Thanks, John. I think what's interesting is that a business owner today doesn't look like a business owner of the past. Take myself, for example. By day, I'm a consultant, but I'm also a beekeeper. So if you've seen the hives in the botanical gardens, those are our hives. On Sunday, you'll find me down at the Harbourside Market selling the same honey. So you can get a chance to buy it there as well. I sell my stuff through Soli, which is in Tawa. I can sit at the Berrenport table because I'm also own a preschool out at Berrenport. So you might not think I own all those kind of businesses or get involved in those kind of businesses. I'm also a commercial landlord. So you can't tell what people look like, and it's become really clear in the food industry that's what it is. People are not looking for a place to do business, they're looking for a community to share their business journey. And a real plug to John and Chris and the council when we ran the pop-up store in Willis Street. We've got some pretty small producers in our kitchen. To be able to sell alongside Fix and Fog is pretty amazing, really. And to actually be able to rub shoulders with those people was quite remarkable. There's a young woman who sells basically vegan cookies. You might find her now in Press House. She's got herself up, about to sign up a lease to actually operate in there. She started in Crave. But her day job is to working for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. That's what business people look like these days. It's a side hustle. And it's taking a passion. It's either grandma's secret recipe or something they've got a passion for. In Charlie's case, it was vegan cookies. You may have heard of Baxter's Sauces. That was basically Scott Baxter, worked for Weta, working 80 hours a day on film. And the extra hours he had, he decided to make some sauce. It's got to be gluten-free because he's a celiac. He's gone back to Seattle, but basically someone else took over that business in Weta. They continue to operate at a Crave today. So what we found basically is people looking for a place to share their passionate dream with, and they're looking for the community to connect to. And Crave is this really nondescript little business down the back alley at Lyell Bay. It used to be Elements Preparation Kitchen once upon a time. And in May, we were this close to closing down because we ran a cooking school in there and all our producers were shutting down due to COVID. Interestingly, though, a whole bunch of new people have now turned up. So you've got a passion for food or something you want to try start out, come and chat to me afterwards. We'll get you started.
Gosh, you feel inadequate, don't you? I mean, I should need to be doing about 3 side hustles on the basis of that. It is really remarkable. I want to just flip for a moment Martin Roseby's presentation, which looked at what was going on in the city and the impact of openings and closings of borders and all that sort of stuff, which suggests that we've had this great surge to the suburbs, and then it's sort of ebbed and flowed, and God, it might be winter and it might be summer, and he's an economist, so he would know. But I mean that very friendly. I'm not really, as he knows. But I suppose the question is, we've had the benefit of the last period. How do we sustain that, and how do we sustain it, particularly if as may happen, patterns change and shift and change. So I thought I might start in Karori this time and ask me.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. In Karori, we've seen huge business growth and an increase in revenue with new customers that we've not seen before that would previously have been on the mass exodus bus into the CBD. Daytime foot traffic has increased, creating a buzz, and car parking is continuously utilised. Suburbanisation will only continue to grow, and along with that, the need for lifestyle ease and self-sufficiency. In terms of maintaining that audience, for those professionals that are computer-bound, everywhere within the community should be considered a place of work. We could have expansions of Wi-Fi zones, perhaps within our bid areas, and even our green spaces may encourage people out of the 4 walls and into their local cafes with their laptop. Potential development with our green spaces remind me of the commons in London that are so well utilised and perhaps more than just green fields. Green space is crucial for well-being, especially the changes with the types of residential homes we build. We need resilience within our suburbs, meeting places, co-working hubs, sound transportation links between suburbs, and ease for business with curbside pickup with the digital surge. Demand for business in Karori is high, but we need more commercial space. We're seeing growth in residential, but how can we service that new population with a stunted growth in commercial areas? Perhaps there could be some consideration in expanding those zones, take them off the main street, out of the status quo.
Thank you. Thanks very much. I'm really interested in this debate between the CBD and the suburbs and how you sort of square all of that circle. And I know across the panel there are people with experience in trying to do that in their various businesses. I called out Matt when I was talking, but I'd just be really interested in just quick snapshots of that. Is it this case that success of the suburbs needs to be the sort of sucking the heart out of the city? And how do you make the call about the sort of business that will work in the suburb and as distinct from what you're doing in the city? Can I start with you, Matt?
Yeah, I think it's a really good point because we saw some stats before that said that things just haven't settled down yet, and I don't think they're going to settle down for a wee while. So there is an opportunity where we're going to see people that are still coming into the CBD. They're eating, they're drinking, they're working in the CBD. They're also eating, drinking, and working out in the suburbs as well. So we are going to see that they've got a lot of different opportunities to come into both styles of businesses. One thing that I've really noticed is that in the suburbs, there's people that are used to sort of the CBD and they expect CBD quality, but they're in the suburbs, so they expect to pay suburban prices. And often we can't give that. I mean, for obvious reasons. And they might say, they might think to themselves that we're out in the suburbs, your rent's a lot cheaper. Why are things so expensive? But they don't realise that we've got to pay our staff more to incentivise them to come and work out in the suburbs. So it's not that simple, and it's quite difficult to try and get that across often to our customers. So I think we're in a position we really need to listen to what our market is wanting. And we've got to be adaptable to be able to understand that they're almost in a bit of an instant economy where they're used to having things a certain way, whether it be in the CBD or the suburbs. So it's kind of one of those, we're in one of those times at the moment where it's going to be a real fine sort of balancing act. Which way it's going to go, I'm not quite sure.
Thanks. Diane was waiting. Oh, Jamie? Oh, you have this, Jamie.
Ladies first.
Look, I just there's a lot of change happening. I know we were struck with COVID last year, but we were starting to see some changes in retail, and that probably brought things on. We know there's a lot more online shopping, but people do want the experience, and I believe people want the experience not just of shopping, but it's also going out for a bite to eat as well, or doing other stuff as well. So it's not just necessarily one thing. So we need to think about that, how we want not only our suburban communities to work, but also the strength of our CBD, because our CBD is the workhorse for the region. And so we can't lose sight of that. And as we put in other infrastructure changes, what does that mean for our CBD? At the moment, we're hearing stories about with the parking, the increase in parking charges in the CBD, what that's doing at the moment, and people are sort of thinking about where they go. And I was quite interested to see the figures from Martin, where we saw, especially at the weekend, the suburban spend up more. And I'd say that might be in part to people choosing to drive out to the malls than to come to the CBD. So but things are happening, and I don't think no one's got all the answers. We just have to sort of see how that goes. But we need to be able to adapt and change. And if we get some of our decisions wrong, we need to be able to say we got it wrong, put a hand up, and we need to try something different.
I think there's always change. So we've been in business for 15 years. We've been through a couple of structural changes that have been created by consumer change. What we're seeing now is actually, and I look out in this room, there's not many Gen Y in this room, right? From looking out. So they're the biggest spenders in our sector at the moment. So they go out more frequently, they spend more, and they're changing how they want it. So, when I watch what's happening in the CBD, Gen Y is leading the way, and they'll choose what they think is good from an experiential point of view. And then they generally drag all the other generations with them because we're all too lazy to think about it. If they say it's good, we just go. We just assume. You're bloody out all the time. You must know what you're doing. I feel like a drink or a meal, I'll tag along. So probably looking into that data and going, who are the people making and driving the change is important. But look, COVID's changed things. The new generation will change things. We're just used to it. I mean, you just got to roll with it. I think, people are working from home. Oh, well, roll with it. It's going to take 3 years to make the changes from Lambton Key to Courtney Place. Well, I don't know what's going to be the outcome, but just try something. We want this council to push forward. We want you to fail, learn, and quickly fix it and get it right. But what we don't want you to do is to sit there fucking thinking about everything, right? So let's get some action.